Hey, this is draffet. This draft store. With the election last week, I decided I was going to talk about politics. I changed it up to drugs and alcohol, which is because it's a touchy subject, and B, because, well, it was on the ballot. Yeah, the drug part was on ballot on a number of states here in the United States, Michigan. I mean, no, marijuana. Actually, just the city of Detroit. It had it on the ballots too, legalization to a degree. Now, am I for legalization? Yes. Um, do I understand that there's repercussions? And yes. I honestly, other than the addictive thing, have not actually gone out of my way to do this. But I've been kind of interested after I started talking to this on this subject with my wife on when most of these drugs got illegal, and what the death rate was before legal, becoming illegal to current uses. Because everybody knows about prohibition and what it did for drug use, or well, for alcohol use. People were brewing their own, gangsters, the whole 9 yards. Now, do I think that that would help out with some of the issues we have with drugs here? A lot of it ends up being my personal belief. Yeah, a lot of it ends up being is that people don't like being told no, you can't do that. So when somebody says you can't do that, more and more people start doing it. Now, do I believe that that'll cause a chain reaction to clean things up? I don't know. I did watch a video on YouTube a number of months ago about the same subject and about, I want to say it's Portugal, cleaning it up, and how an American politician was against it, saying what would cause all this shooting. Actually, it's John Stossel, I think, now that I think about it. And how, I think, like I said, I think it's Portugal, might have been, another country, but how they cleaned it up, they made things legalized or decriminalized, and it cleaned up the streets a little bit. Just people started getting off the streets, clinics started being overrun because people wanted to have help, and it, their politicians thought it was a good idea, and it seemed to work for them. Now, there was a few politicians here in the United States that said it would never happen, it won't happen, this is why it won't happen. You legalize it, more people are going to buy it, and here's the thing. Everybody says marijuana is a gateway drug. I've known people in my life who've never done anything other than smoke pot. I've known people who have never touched pot, drank like a fish, also tried dropping acid, mescaline, pain pills, a few other things. Now, my personal belief, do I take drugs? No. I personally do not take drugs. I do drink occasionally. This is how many times I've smoked pot. This is how many times I've done anything heavier. I do want to try mushrooms, magic mushrooms. That is only because of the 2006 study I read about, and how people in the study actually got more spiritual and social, social conscious friendly, I guess. There's just another term for it. I just don't. I've got the page up, but I'm not going to the page. Um, but speaking of studies, I get to the one I do have up, and that's why I'm not going to the page. And peyote. Okay, those are the only ones that I'm actually talking about, or even considered doing. Um, how many people? Okay, I've been around people drinking alcohol. I've seen people smoke pot. Like I said, I've done it. Never bought it. Never abused it. Um, I just tried it to see how it felt. For the most part, uh, I have seen people snort cocaine. I've actually walked into a bar and had a couple drug deals going down. Um, I've had acquaintances, or now they're acquaintances of mine, that used to deal pot or mescaline. Um, I played football, tackle football with some kids back when I was in high school that I don't know exactly the term for it, but it actually had smoked pot laced with cocaine. And I actually been in a room with somebody that did that, and wow, that's just even getting a contact high off that was just totally weird. My heart started racing, and never done that around anybody else that smoked regular pot. Um, who, um, I could have at one time walked down the street in my old subdivision and told you, hey, this person did this person, bum bum, just because of the people I hung around. When they'd gone and, bought theirs. But this is like ages ago, and half the people moved on or moved out or, whatever. Uh, do I support it? I don't support abuse of any substance. I can't say I really abuse caffeine. I mean, I do drink one energy drink and then a couple pops during the day. But I've actually tried to reduce that because I've had some issues with some of those energy things in the past. Do I support the legalization of certain ones? Yes, I do support the legalization of marijuana because it's got a number of helpful uses, medicinal-wise and otherwise. There's a lot of misconception because the government doing the propaganda machine trying to make things seem worse than they actually are. Not saying that they're Hollywood, whether it's television or movies, pushing up, all the drug issues. Now, with that said, have I known people that have overdosed or died from drug use? One of my best friends when I was a kid overdosed. Luckily, he survived. He was not the same afterwards. It was on him and a couple of buddies were drinking Absolute half gallon and dropped a couple hits of acid, and the doctors were never sure which, what did what. Luckily, he survived. Wasn't the same, like I said, wasn't the same person. Was slightly paranoid, to the point that my younger brother slept with a knife when he roomed with him under his pillow. I had, now an acquaintance, but a friend of my youngest brother's, whose stepbrother OD'd huffing. So yeah, I know of the ramifications of it, and that's partially why I've never tried anything heavier, as I don't know what my system could take. Um, I I am against consensual laws. Okay, in a nutshell. Now, for any of you that don't understand what consensual law is, it means two or more consenting parties agree on, uh, well, we'll use drug dealers as a prime example. Uh, two legal, two legal people, legal adults, one person selling, the other one's buying, ha- saying, okay, yeah, I'm doing this. Here's my money. Same way a bar, more or less, a bar is a consensual avenue. You go to drinks, so you give the bar your money to get yourself shit faced. Now, with that, alcohol has caused a lot. Personally, has caused a lot more problems in a lot of lives, and it actually been more of a gateway than, say, cannabis. Like I think I've stated in this. Uh, Now, harm caused by drugs table. This is why I'm going into this. This was in a study done in Great Britain. Description. Researchers asked drug harm experts to rank these illegal and legal drugs on various measures of harm both to the user and others in societies. The source is, the date of this was this time last year. The source was Scoring Drugs, The Economist, data from Drug Harm, the UK, multi-criteria decision analysis. Now, it goes maximum possible harm rating of 100. Now, not a single one of them goes to 100 that are on this list. The closest one is 75 with alcohol harm to oneself. The closest one to harm of others is roughly about 45. Same thing, alcohol. I've seen, now getting back to this a little bit, and I understand this because I've seen more people act like a moronic idiot drinking than I have smoking pot. Most of the people I've known that smoke pot just sit around laughing, giggling, and I've had actually, some really interesting discussions. Alcohol leads to people wanting to kick other people in the nuts and then painting their face when they pass out. So I know a lot of children find that kind of be hysterical. I mean, yes, in a way it is kind of, because everybody's got that, hey, it's happening to somebody else. But it's part of the reason why, except for one time, I kind of never tried to be the last person to sleep at parties growing up. Especially if I drank. I've only had one party that I did that, and I will be wholeheartedly honest. When I got totally shit-faced, I was a lech. I did hit on just about every girl, married or otherwise, in the party, and barely remembered it. Hence the reason why I don't do drugs, because I'd rather I'd rather be able to remember what the hell I did the next day, and not have a crutch to say, well, it was the alcohol's fault, or it was the drug's fault, or it was this fault. I'd rather remember what the fuck I did, period. Even my bad decisions, I want to remember why I did them. The next in line, we will go back to this and go, the next in line is heroin, crack cocaine, methamphetamines, cocaine, tobacco, amphetamine, cannabis, GHB, benzodiazepines, ketamine, methadone, butane, quat, anabolic steroids, ecstasy, LSD, buprenorphine, and mushrooms. And mushrooms actually being the least harmful on this list. giving pretty much just about a 5 for self issues. Now, like I said, the other one, um, and it rates, in different things. I mean, I'll just go down here like cannabis rates 20, 21 in harmful to users, and maybe a 9 and harmful to other people. Ketamine, 11 to 15 to yourself, and roughly about 3 or 4 to others. LSD, solid on yourself of probably roughly about a 6, but nothing to anybody else. I mean, they even have tobacco on here, which rates probably about 25 to oneself, and about a 10 to others. And it's mostly smoking, inhalation of others. People smoke other than anything else. But on the mushroom thing, like I said, that was the one. This is the other. For some reason, I'm having an issue finding spiritual well-being. In 2006, the United States government funded a randomized and double-blind study at Johns Hopkins University, which studied the spiritual effects of psilocybin. In particular, they used they did not use mushrooms specifically. In fact, each individual mushroom piece can vary widely in psilocybin and psilocin content. Study involved 36 educated adults, averaging 46 to the age of 46, who never tried psilocybin, nor had any history of drug use, or who had religious or spiritual interests. The participants were closely observed for 8-hour intervals in a laboratory while under the influence of. 1/3 of the participants reported the experience was the single most spiritual significant moment of their lives, and more than 2/3 reported it was among the top 5 most spiritual significant experiences. Now, here's the interesting part. 2 months after the study, 79% of participants reported increased well-being or satisfaction. Friends, relatives, and associates confirmed this. They also reported anxiety and depression symptoms to decrease or completely gone. 14 months after, 64% of participants said they still experienced increases in well-being and life satisfaction. Despite highly controlled conditions to minimize adverse effects, only 22% of the subjects, which is only 8 people out of 36, had notable experience of fear, some paranoia, and the authors, however, reported that all of these instances were relatively manageable with reassurance. So, in a nutshell, should drugs be legal like alcohol? Well, pharmaceuticals that are produced by the pharmacy companies have just a high rate of abuse as illegal substances. More readily able to get a hold of, whether it's a parent's prescription, grandparent's prescription, friend's prescription, friend's parent's prescription, or breaking into another person's home. They are legal. They do give you some form of a high, I guess. Are they always helpful? No. There's too many side effects with. So should they be illegal drugs be considered for legality? If it's in my personal opinion, I think it would actually help the economy of the United States if it was, because now where people are being in jails, no longer being overcrowded, farmers having another crop or crops to sell, the cartels being kicked in the ass, and you can, with marijuana, you can make cigarettes and sell it at the local grocery store. Will it be still abused by kids? Alcohol is still abused by kids. They get it readily by parents who have beer in the fridge, vodka in the cupboard, and die just the same. So my only thing is, if you want a well-rounded kid that isn't going to get into drug use, explain everything to him. That's what I intend to do to mine. And I mean, we could see the examples up front. Find on the internet anywhere, or of somebody who's tried to do the buddy system with their kids, with communes, and did it work? I mean, Hollywood's laced with people running around doing drugs, and nobody's put too much of a stop to it. Poor people, they do it, boom, carted off to jail. Prime example, Robert Downey Jr., Christian Slater. They got, this cushy jail that they did go to, where they were able to go do movies. Me, I give 3 to 5. This is Draffet. This Draffet store. It's my opinion. Have fun.